How you doing? This is my Kenworth T660, and very soon I will actually own the title to it. I'm very excited. But I've owned the truck for about 3 years now, and in this video I'm going to talk about what's most important when looking to purchase a truck, so that way you don't make maybe some of the same mistakes that I made. This truck has been an absolute great truck. I have not been on the side of the road. I've only had to put up the triangles other than flat tires, what, once, maybe twice? And those were very unorthodox situations. So, you know, I'm not gonna say that I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I could give you a good idea of what to look for. That way you don't buy a truck, hopefully, that's gonna leave you stranded on the side of the road. Even if you were to buy a brand new truck, you know, those brand new trucks still have problems. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a perfect truck, doesn't mean that it's gonna treat you well, and doesn't mean that it's gonna keep you out of the shop. So the first thing that you wanna do is you wanna consider what type of truck you're looking for, and what I mean by that is what specs you need in order for the proper applications. You need to consider if you're gonna be mountain driving, or if it's gonna be flat, if you're gonna be up north, if you're gonna be down south, if you're gonna be pulling heavy, or you're gonna be pulling light. And that's gonna lead you to decide what kind of horsepower you're looking for. Wheelbase doesn't necessarily, it doesn't make that big of a factor, but it might be a factor to you. Longer the wheelbase, the smoother the ride. But gear ratio is also going to be extremely important. And then, of course, the actual engine. So the engine is where you're going to want to start. The engine can make or break you. And keep in mind, yeah, sure, the older Caterpillar engines, the 3406E, the 6NZ, they're probably considered some of the greatest engines that have ever been put out. But at the same time, you gotta take into consideration that it's extremely expensive to maintain those engines, especially to rebuild. I mean, if you're doing a platinum rebuild, I believe the price can be anywhere from $30,000 upwards to $45,000. So, you know, in order for me to rebuild this Cummins, I've got a Cummins 2250, looking at about 20 to 25, so roughly half the price. That's a big difference. That definitely makes a big difference. And then also the ability to find parts. I can easily find parts for this. Detroit is very easy to find parts for. Unfortunately, Caterpillar is difficult to find parts for, and they are expensive. So you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons. You really need to take into account how mechanically inclined are you. You know, for myself, if it doesn't unbolt and bolt back on, I'm probably not gonna mess with it. I'm certainly not troubleshooting anything. You know, I'm not the most mechanically inclined. I'm certainly not scared to, pick up a set of wrenches though and go to work. But you need to assess what is your mechanical skill level in determining what it is that you're looking for. If you have no mechanical inclination whatsoever, you probably want to veer towards a Detroit engine, because they're very easy to work on. They're very easy to find a shop that can work on them, and parts are very readily available. So consider what type of engine it is that you're looking for and how mechanically inclined you are. The number two thing to consider is, do you have the ability to get all of the maintenance records? This is going to be huge no matter what it is that you're looking for. The ability to get all of the maintenance records is not only going to tell you how well the truck was taken care of, but it's gonna point out kind of the flaws of the truck. Every truck has its own quirks. My truck had an issue with the fuel pump, and this one in particular has a kind of a rear suspension issue where it will wear out the very rear axle. It's because it's a tag axle, long story. Not gonna get into all of that. But the maintenance records will point you in the right direction for things that you need to keep an eye on whenever you purchase the truck and then throughout the life of the truck. So without those maintenance records, steer away from those trucks if at all possible, because you don't know what's been done to the truck. You know, it doesn't really matter how many miles or how many hours are on the engine if you know exactly what's been done to the truck. It's gonna let you know what the issues are and so on and so forth. So with maintenance records, definitely is a huge bonus. It's not necessary. You can always take the truck to a mechanic and have them look at it from top to bottom. A mechanic that you trust, by the way. So yeah, you need to have some prior knowledge of this mechanic, but you know, it's not necessary, but I'm gonna tell you, it is gonna be a huge bonus and a lot less headache later on in the life of the truck. Another thing that you need to consider is, where did the truck come from? You know, it's sad, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but the mega carriers don't necessarily take proper care of their trucks. Now, some are better than others. Which ones they are, I don't know. I can't necessarily point you and tell you, oh, yeah, these do great, these are medium, and these are poor. I don't know. But in general, for the most part, the mega carriers are not trying to take the best care of their trucks. They're trying to make sure, or they're trying to keep an eye on their bottom line. So what they want to do, and what, you know, their process is, they buy or lease brand new trucks, and they get rid of them when they're out of warranty. And then in between those two things, they want to do the absolute minimum maintenance that they possibly can in order to get by and keep it under warranty. That way they're not having to come out of pocket for huge maintenance costs. And what this leads to, and especially between the years of about 2012 to about 2016, be very, very wary of those trucks. The engines they just weren't capable enough yet to handle the DPF systems. The new engines nowadays, they do a much better job, or I should say trucks, they do a much better job of this, taking care of the DPF system, taking care of the DEF. It's still not ideal, but it's better than it used to be. And certainly back then, there just wasn't enough evidence, or there wasn't enough maintenance time to see what was being done to these engines. Now, yes, mine does fall in that area, but the one thing that I did was very much educate myself in how to take care of the DPF systems. And so I did an EGR tune-up almost immediately. And I'll tell you what, I'll link that in the top comment down below, and I'll let you know what I did in order to maintain that. But just, if you're looking at a truck between about 2012 2016, just be very, very careful and know where your truck came from. That way you know what to look for. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have the ability, the absolute best place that you can buy a truck from is an owner-operator, because they're gonna most likely have all of the maintenance records, or that if they don't actually have the records for you, they're gonna be able to tell you what all has been done to the truck, kind of what the quirks are of the truck, and what needs to be done to the truck. I can tell you everything that needs to be done to this truck right now. And it's possible that I might be selling my truck this year, so kind of keep an eye out on that. But owner-operator, hands down, the best way to go. And if you get a bad feeling about a truck, listen to your gut. Don't just buy a truck because that's the first one that's available to you. I'd like to take a minute to thank the sponsor of this video, Trucker Tools. Trucker Tools is an amazing application, no matter if you're an owner-operator, company driver, lease purchase operator, whatever. If you're out here, you're in a big truck, you need to have Trucker Tools. Trucker Tools is an American application made by Americans, and it's operated here in America. Unlike some of the other popular applications, that's one of my favorite things about Trucker Tools. It's why I work with them. They're here for the truck driver. They want to do good for us. It's completely free, so there is a link in the description down below. And also, as a thank you, if you go and download the application, make sure you leave a review, and then contact Trucker Tools. Let them know that you left a review, and they will enter you into a contest to win a $50 gift card. They're doing that almost every month. They've been running it for a long, long time, so greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, Trucker Tools. Thank you for working with me. What are you waiting for? Go download it. Something else to heavily consider when purchasing a truck is, how does the oil analysis come back? The oil analysis is going to tell you everything that you need to know. Don't rely on an oil analysis that is not sent off to a lab, and this lab, that's specifically what they do. That's the only way to go. That's the only way to do it. You can get on letstruck.com. It's Kevin Rutherford's website. He has a very good oil analysis kit, and I've used it, and they're great. They have an application that you can use. It's very, very simple to use, and they're very, very thorough. They're very, very in-depth. It gives you a list of all the different metals, and these different metals, if they start showing up, you know, in the truck or in the oil, it's going to tell you kind of what's going out. So if you do own a truck and you want to stay on top of it, if you want to prevent maintenance rather than react to maintenance, then definitely you want to be doing oil analysis. But it's not, the oil analysis is not going to work if the oil has been changed recently. So unfortunately, a lot of places do change the oil. It's one of the first things that they do. So you should ask that immediately. But if you're looking at trucks at, let's say, like Ritchie Brothers auction, then you can do an oil analysis right there. You know, you should be able to do an oil analysis right there on the spot, send it off, and then whenever it comes back, you should be able to get the results back before it actually goes up for auction, but that is something to consider. If you can do it, I highly, highly recommend it. And if you already own a truck, then you definitely need to be doing oil analysis. And lastly, when you're looking to buy a truck, if you're looking to buy your first truck, I'm sorry, but I don't recommend running out and buying a brand new Peterbilt 389. It's that truck note that goes along with that brand new Peterbilt 389. Well, it's higher than a giraffe's ass. I mean, let's just put it that way. You know, a payment on a brand new truck is absolutely astronomical. And there's a huge learning curve whenever you get out here, whether you're leased onto a carrier or you start your own number, start your own business. And you need to understand how to make yourself profitable first before you jump out into this massive, massive truck payment. You know, my truck payment on this thing was $13.25 a month, more than reasonable. Anywhere between, I mean, I've got a friend that's got an $800 a month truck note, so anywhere between about $800, and I would say you could stretch it as far as maybe $1,800, but you kind of want to keep it in that sweet spot because it's not too high, so that way you can actually save for maintenance. Once again, no matter how new or old the truck is, you are going to have maintenance costs. This is why a lot of people run out, they buy a truck, they spend their whole wad on getting the truck, they have nothing put back for maintenance, and in the first week they break down, and then they're screwed right off the bat. You know, don't do that to yourself. Understand that a lot of money goes into repairing these trucks all of the time. And just because you're buying a truck even from a dealer does not mean that it's in great shape, doesn't mean that it's gonna go down the road and operate well for you. I mean, you could easily rack up a $10,000 maintenance bill within the first few months of owning the truck. And if you don't have the money, well, you're gonna be SOL. So, you know, don't do that to yourself. Make sure that you have money set aside for the maintenance and understand that, you know, these trucks take a lot of abuse. It's not like buying a car from a dealer. You know, you have an issue with it right off the bat, they're probably gonna take care of it for you. Not when buying a truck. It's on you, baby. You own it. You know, it is your truck. It is nobody else's responsibility but your own. So don't do that to yourself. Don't run out and put yourself in a position where you're gonna fail right off the bat. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Give this if you enjoyed it, hit the like button. I haven't done that in a while. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. But as always, stay driven.